Hi, welcome to Wings for Life International. My name is Ann Edenfield Sweet. I'm the executive director and the founder of Wings for Life. And I am so excited to have Sean Cowgill with us tonight. He actually does a national podcast, and I was invited to be on his podcast. That's how I found out about him. And what a wonderful man, and what a story he has. He is a 57-year-old man. As he says, he comes from a dysfunctional family of alcoholics. He was born and raised in San Francisco, and he ended up with a drug and alcohol problem. He now is 4 years plus, counting, clean and sober, but he did unfortunately end up in prison. And so he's been a very strong advocate of AA, and he was very instrumental in claiming AA as one of the keys to success for him, even while he was in prison. He started making YouTube videos and now has done over 100 shows. And the whole goal is to help people before they go in, help the families, and help that returning citizen when they come home. And so he has dealt with just tons of questions, anything you can imagine, I'm sure he has been asked. And so we're going to be asking him some of those things too. If you had to pay for a consultant to help with this, oftentimes they charge $5,000 to $10,000 to do what he does for free with his podcast. So he's going to tell us all about the podcast and all about what he does. And I am so happy to welcome Sean Cowgill with us. So Sean, welcome. We're glad you're here.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Ann. Wow, quite an introduction. So, guys, I'm just like she said. I'm 57 years old. I've been out of prison about a year and a half. Now, my time was in the federal prison system. I know most people are going to be state prison, but like Ann was telling me, prison is prison. I got through that, and it finally took prison, I think, to turn my life around. Now, I've been in several residential drug and alcohol rehabs, and they work while you're in there. And I would get out, and I would find a job, and I would get a car, and I would get the girl, and I would get the house, and everything would be good. And I'd end up back on the drugs and alcohol. And that's a long story. We're not going to get into that today, but, I've had my struggles, and, both. I come from, family grew up on welfare cheese and all that stuff growing up. His parents were divorced. It was a violent household, and dad beat mom, beat me, beat my brother, and but now I'm 57, and it's like in your 50s, and you're still getting high and still ruining your life. It took prison to wake me up. I've been to county jails a few times just for little things, guys. A quarter gram of cocaine will get you 6 months in jail out here in California, and I've done my little times with that. Still never learned my lesson. I mean, I thought I'd learned my lesson. I was going to change, but I didn't. So when I finally went to prison, guys, there was no AA meetings there. So I got with our warden, and she let me start some AA meetings. And even though drugs are my main purpose, I tried to do NA, but NA wasn't writing me back. AA sent me boxes full of books and literature and pamphlets and everything to start the meetings. It's called H&I. Hospitals and institutions, and if you are in a prison or even a jail, you can write to AA, and they will send you this literature. There is pen pals you can write to. AA really helped. It's called H&I, and they probably have guys that come outside and come to do meetings at your prison. They don't really do it in federal prison, so I started my own meetings and had about a dozen guys on a regular basis that came and went through, and there's 5 or 6 of them that are out now, and we still talk, and we're still sober today, and we help each other. You know what I mean? And, that's so, I've been out of prison about a year and a half, and I did a little less than 3 years in federal prison. Like Ann said, got about 4.5 years clean and sober now, and I finally got it. It's never too late, so, like, I'm in my 50s, and, it wasn't my first attempt. So don't give up. Don't think you're too old. Don't give up. You know what I mean? So like Ann said, I started this YouTube channel, and I was lucky, not like you guys. I got out on pretrial, and the feds, they'll give you a bail. They'll bail you. It's a no cash bail kind of thing for some of us. Not everybody, but the nonviolent crimes, you get to be on the outside. I was on the outside for 4 years, as they say, fighting my case, but waiting to get sentenced is what it really is. And there's not a lot of information on the internet and YouTube, and there's just not a lot of help. So there was one guy who helped me, who's now a prison consultant on YouTube, and he charges $5,000-$10,000 as a life. This guy helped me for free, but I wanted to start. I just planned to do a couple videos to tell people what it's like in prison. My first day in prison was my first video. And I started getting calls from the gate because I put my phone number up there. So now I probably had at least 100 people I've talked to. In about 9 months I've been doing these videos. I get emails, I get comments, I get texts, and everybody's going through it. I get family members that call me. I had a mother call me like 2 days ago. Her 18-year-old son is in county jail, in the federal detention part of the county jail for gun charges and drug charges, and they're not going to let him out on pretrial. He's going to get sentenced and go to prison. But she needed somebody to talk to, and what it's going to be like. And he's got a Fed case, so I was able to answer some of her questions about where he's going to go. He's 18 years old. He's not going to a camp. He's not. We did her. There's a thing, custody level points. Guys, level 1, 2, 3, or 4. Where's he going to go? He's probably going to be a 3. He's probably going to a medium. I don't think he's going to the penitentiary, and he's lucky. But he will go to that next time, if there is a next time. So, I talked to her about what he's got to do while he's in there so he doesn't get on that revolving door. That life sentence, just the installment plan. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? If you can break that cycle.
So, Sean, tell us, what are some ways that you could better yourself while incarcerated? Because we've got some people today that are listening to us. They are in prison. There might be somebody that is family members that have loved ones that are listening, and they say, what can I do to help? And how can I advise them? So what is your advice for ways to better yourself while behind bars, any kind of bars?
Yeah, so I made a list of things, and I'll talk about them, but I want to tell you guys, it's not the end. It's the beginning. I'm hoping you guys all have release dates. I don't care if it's 10 years down the line. I'm hoping you'll have a release date, because then you'll understand. But don't look at it as the end of your life. Look at it as the beginning of your new life. But you got to work on yourself, and it might be hard where you're at. I'm not sure what level prison people are at, and it's not always easy to find time alone to do things. But here's kind of what I did. I'm going to go over this list. So first of all, you need to be willing to change and willing to learn. Are you? Or are you just want to stay angry at the world? And are you willing to change? Do you want to change? That's the first step. Nobody can make you change. You know what I mean? And some people think, well, I don't need to change. It's not me. It wasn't me. It's just what? It's just that you got caught. Is that what it is? Because a lot of people think it's the laws that Hello, Ann. I lost you. I think we lost.
No, I'm here. I just thought people might want to just look at you, Sean.
Oh, boy.
Listeners, we are doing this by Zoom because he's in California, we're in New Mexico. That's the beauty of Zoom. So if I need to ask you a question or something, I will bring my face back up. But otherwise, okay. Sean, I'm going to let you talk. You're doing a great job.
So here's the thing. Like, let's say, okay, maybe you're there because you got caught. Let's say you, how much time do you think you would spend in prison for every crime you committed? The ones you didn't get caught for? How much time do you think you would get? Look at it like that. Look at it like, I know I've driven drunk at least 500 times. At least 500 times. I don't know how many times I've bought drugs. I've sold drugs. I've never got caught. I should be doing 500-year sentence for all the crimes I did, but I didn't get caught for them all. So try to look at it like that. Now, do you want to change? Besides that, so the first thing I signed up for as many programs, classes, anything I could get my hands on. We had some night classes, Monday through Friday. There'd be like an hour class you could go to. There was programs like mindfulness, anger management, parenting. I don't even have kids, but I took parenting classes. I took Spanish. I took history. I took financing classes, GED, even though I didn't need it. I took it again because I wanted to get, I got to retrain my brain. You know what I mean? I went to church services. I tried, I think we had 12 different services. I mean, there was Buddhism, there was Wiccan, there was Baptist, there was Mormons, there was Catholics, there was, Lutheran. Even the Native Americans had a sweat lodge I got to go to once. I went to these services 2 or 3 times. I tried each one out, anything I could do to be around positive people. Another thing, hang out at the law library. If you guys have a law library section there where guys hang out, I mean, go where the people are that are using their mind and are trying to do something. I mean, these are things I did. So here's another thing that's very helpful, and I use this in AA, and I got an AA sponsor, guys, and I call them up all the time, and when I'm feeling depressed or life's not fair, and I got to complain, he tells me to make a grateful list, and this is what I did while I was in prison. I did this once a week. I took a piece of paper and I make a list of 10 things I'm grateful for. This could be I'm not locked up in the shoe, my clothes are clean today, I got shampoo, nobody shanked me today. You know what I mean? I got a shot of coffee for the morning. I'm alive. Maybe I got family members that let me write to them. I mean, a list of 10 things you're grateful for. They could be little things, and I know you're in prison, and it's like, what could you be grateful for in prison? You think of them. Think of the things. You got blankets on your bed? You got a pillow? Do you got some commissary? I mean, you know what I mean? It's whatever you could think of. That's you write down 10 things, and if you do this once a week, you're actually going to build your self-worth. It's these things work. Another thing, exercise every day. I don't know if you guys get out to the yard, to the track. In the feds, I was at a camp, and we had all kinds of places to walk around in the outside, but I know in a lot of state prisons it's only about the yard time and all that, but if they let you walk the track, exercise, this is probably things you guys do anyways, and your push-ups and your sit-ups and your burpees and all that stuff, but do that and exercise your mind as well. Try to meditate, try to exercise your mind as best you can. Another thing I did, I had the luxury of bringing in a list of people. I had time to prepare to go to prison, so I had a list of family members that were willing to let me write to them. I wrote 20 letters a month, but if you can find 5 people to write to a month, if you have family, that's great. Write to the little kids in the family. I wrote to some drug counselors from those rehabs I was in. I called them out. I got their addresses. I had people in AA that I wrote to, and I got these AA pen pals when I was in there. I wrote to them. That one guy with the YouTube channel, his name was RDAP Dan, and he's got a YouTube channel, and I wrote letters to him, and he wrote letters back to me, and you know what I mean? I found 20 different people to write letters to, and I kept a list, and I'd check it off every month, and I'd have the 20 letters. And not everybody wrote me back all the time. Some people took 6 months until they wrote me back, but they did write me back. I got 3 cousins and an aunt who wrote me back. I had a father who wrote me back, who died while I was in prison, the alcoholic father, but I was able to come to terms with that, so to speak. And my mother died about 20 years ago, but I still found people to write to. And if you guys don't have anybody to write to me, and my information will be on there, and I will write you back. Then at least, I was talking about exercise your mind, so at least once a week, find a newspaper to read, find a law book to read. Even if you don't care about the law, you want to exercise your mind. An educational book, a book on history, a religious book, a Bible, a Torah, the Quran. I read all those books in there. You know what I mean? You want to exercise just knowledge. Seek knowledge and seek spirituality. I mean, here's another thing. Once a week, do something kind for a person for no reason at all. Have you ever heard of integrity? It's doing the right thing when nobody's listening. I mean, when nobody's looking or when nobody's listening. So maybe you got an inmate that's got no money on his books, never has commissary. hand him a soup, give him a shot of coffee. For no reason at all. Don't expect anything back, just to do a kind act. Try to do a kind act for somebody once a week. Do it. It builds your integrity. It builds your self-worth. And the last thing I got here is when a new guy comes into the prison, find one of these new guys and reach out to them. You know what I mean? And maybe show them around and, you know, show them the ropes, take them under your wings for no reason at all. Just be a friend to a new guy. I mean, pick the right one, the one that you think, you know, you can handle, if they'll let you even. But remember what it's like your first day of prison. I don't care how tough you are. I know you're scared that first day. Even if you've been there before and you think you got your own, find that guy who's, you know, never been to prison and show him around and just be his friend. Don't want any reason. Just try it. Just try it. Reach out to somebody else and give back, and you'll notice a difference. So those are some of the things.
Well, I love everything that you said, and I want to just highlight a couple things. Take every class that you possibly can. I am a volunteer that goes in there. Every single volunteer goes through a lot to be able to go into that prison. And Sean is exactly right. They care, they have something to share, and you can take advantage of this and you can learn from them. They can make a difference for you. Now, I'm also going to share about writing the letters. We have a board member now. He spent 33 years in Oklahoma prisons. He wrote letters every day to different people. For 33 years, he earned enough money to buy the stamps and the envelopes. One of those people that he wrote to over the years ended up being the governor of Oklahoma. And that governor has been able to help him because he has over 1,000 years, imagine, 1,000 years of probation and parole. So you never know who you're writing to. So find key people that have made a difference like Sean did in his life and write letters to them. And one last thing I want to say too about be thankful. Believe me, sometime I'll tell you all what the prisons are. I've been at prisons in Liberia, every prison in Kenya, prisons all in India, and prisons across Russia. And I will guarantee when Sean says be thankful for a pillow, a blanket, a roof over your head, not bugs, with lights and heat and air conditioning, if you have it, be thankful. So I just wanted to share that because I have been in the prisons on the other side and been at a whole bunch. And you do have a lot to be thankful for to be in an American prison. So Sean, that was fabulous. That was so helpful. Now, why don't you share about things that you recommend that people do after release?
Okay. So, you know, I'm actually still in that process. So in the feds, when you get out, you get probation. I got 3 years probation. That's the average. Some people get 5, some people get 1 year, but I got the average. I got 3 years federal probation. So I got a year and a half left on that. And in the feds, the first thing they want you to do is they want you to have housing and a job. And they don't allow you to be homeless in the feds. They'll actually violate me. I can't go live in a homeless shelter. I definitely can't live in a tent in the street and all that. They call that a violation, and they'll send me back, believe it or not. So they have a halfway house that they sent me to first, and that helps you get on your feet. But this halfway house that I was at also held state prisoners. It was half feds and half state prisons. So, and every state has a halfway house. You'd have to ask, I don't know if you guys have a counselor or a unit director or a case manager or something you talk to. You can ask about halfway houses. All state prisons have them because I know because I was in one, and in the feds, I deal with people from all over the country. So I'm sure your state has a halfway house, but you got to ask your case manager somebody about that, and it's pre-set up. So when you get out of prison, you go there, but you might not like it because there's a lot of rules. You know what I mean? And they're only going to let you go out to go to work. They might give you a 4-hour pass on the weekends or something to go to the store and buy your hygiene and things like that. But after work, you got to come straight back there, and it's tough, but it's something. There's also clean and sober living houses. SLEs, they used to call those halfway houses. I actually live in one, And the one I'm at has 6 people in one house. It's 2 people, 2 bedroom. There are services that'll even help you pay for these. You got to go to like Catholic Charities, Salvation Army, Purple Heart, St. Vincent de Paul. A lot of these places will pay for your housing in a sober living place, at least at first, till you find a job and get on your feet. And so you may want to, like I went to the halfway house, and from there I found these services, and then I got into the sober living place. And I mean, there's rules here. There's no drinking. There's no alcohol. There's a curfew, but I can go on the weekends, and I can even have guests over in the living room. And but they do, if they think I'm under the influence, they're gonna give me that cup, and I'm still peeing in that cup, guys. I've been peeing in that cup for like 10 years because I was on pre-trial for 4 years, 3 years in prison, and a year and a half on probation. I can't wait till I'm not peeing in that cup, guys. But that's the story of my life. So you got to make sure that cup's a clean cup. And that's one thing you definitely want to do after release. I know even on parole, they're going to have you peeing in that cup. That's the way it is. But your housing. So housing, very important. And then you want to use resources like the Department of Vocational Rehab, DVR, or vocational rehab. It's called different things in different states. They'll pay for you to go to school, like truck driving school or carpenters union, electricians union, stuff like that. They'll pay for that. They'll pay for your tools. They'll pay for your transportation to get there. They'll help you buy a car if needed, or at least give you a bus pass to get to these jobs if you want to learn a trade. There's, like I said, St. Vincent de Paul, Purple Heart, Catholic Charities, your human resource agencies, and they're out there. There's a website called fairshake.net. I know you guys don't have internet, but there are websites you can go to. There are re-entry resource websites that list all kinds of organizations, nonprofits that you want to reach out to, and use that and use that to help get you started. You know what I mean? And then there's also employment agencies. There's temp like Manpower. There's a bunch of them. When you get out, there's a thing called the internet. I don't know how long you've been locked up for, but these websites, you want to go. There's apps that you can download on your cell phone. They've got apps that'll have for day workers that'll tell you want to go clean a house, you want to go walk some dogs, you want to go work in this warehouse, and we'll pay you $20 an hour. They have these day jobs that come on your phone, and you can take the job or leave the job. And there's ways to find work out there, even if you're a felon. Just don't give up, because I got quite a lot of felonies on me. I've been kind of in and out of the county jails. And, when you get caught even for a half gram of cocaine in California, it's a felony. And, I got one from the 90s and the 80s, and they don't go away. Sometimes they only go back 7 years. But I don't give up. I don't let that stop me. I tell people at a job interview, I tell them I've been to prison. I said, I've done everything you could possibly do in the world and in life, and I made it through prison, right? And nothing could stop me, right? I tell them, you want a guy like me. Because if I made it through prison and I'm still here, and I've got my soul and my head intact and everything, and I can smile at you and laugh about it and joke about it, right? And I showed up to this interview on time, you want a guy like me. Especially you want a guy on probation. You know why? Because I don't want to go back to prison. And people on probation show up for work. We show up on time, especially guys that are older. And I use that to my benefit. And if it's against their policy, maybe I don't want to work for you anyways. Next, I'll go find somebody else. Just, you can't give up. You can't give up. And the next thing I got is go to AA, guys. Go to NA. Join some kind of recovery self-help group. If you've got a drug and alcohol problem, if you don't, try church, man. There's all kinds of different I'm not going to preach which type of church, because I don't know if you believe in Allah or God or Jesus or whatever it is, but find something to believe in other than yourself, because believing in yourself got you in prison. Hate to say that. There's something up there. I believe that. And you need to find that and find you know what I'm saying. I got stuck there. Another thing, you need to stay away from your old friends, man. Your buddies that are cruising in the car 4 deep and want to go, and that girl or that guy, stay away from them. You know who I'm talking about? The one with the bag, it's got the motel room, and it's just for the night. And the one that's in and out, the one that's always, the troublemaker. That girl. You stay away from her. And you guys know who I'm talking about. You got to stay away from those women, those bad women, those bad men. You're just going to end up back in the lifestyle. And if you really love that lifestyle so much, we'll get used to prison, because it's gonna be your life. And I know deep inside you don't want that to be your life. You may tell everybody around you that this is your family here in prison. I know you don't really mean that. Nobody really wants to be in prison. Nobody wants to go there, and you don't have to come back. But you got to give up those old people, find new friends. This is what, you only live life once. You know what I mean? How'd you like to get to the end of your life and say, well, if I only tried that, maybe I should have. Well, maybe those maybe I should have, you could actually do now. You don't have to ever look back in your life. You can look forward. And the last thing I'm going to ask you guys to do is to volunteer at food banks, volunteer at homeless shelters and churches, senior centers, after-school programs, nonprofits. Go volunteer for Wings for Life, and always need somebody to sweep and mop and all that stuff. Whatever it is, if it's emptying the trash, and maybe you even get a better job volunteering, but go feed the homeless. Go give back. And this is how you network. This is how you actually find jobs. Because when you volunteer at these nonprofits and these organizations and these after-school programs and these food banks, you're going to find, like Ann said, the guy who might be governor one day. You might meet the governor while you're sweeping the floor and mopping. You never know who you're going to meet, right? But when you volunteer and you give part of yourself to the world, to give back to somebody, there's always somebody worse off than you. Don't ever forget that. And that's about that. That's about it, Ann, for me on that part.
Well, my gosh.
Enough preaching.
Oh, no, that preaching. That was great advice from somebody that's been there. And I always say, thank heaven, at whatever time you come to realize this, you're 57, you've got the rest of your life in front of you. If somebody is listening and you're younger, my gosh, you got the whole rest of your life. Listen to somebody who has been there, and Sean has been there, and now that's what he does. He helps other people. Now, Sean, give us your email.
Okay, so my name is Sean Cowgill, S-E-A-N. You like Sean Connery, S-E-A-N. The last name is Cowgill. That's a cow with a gill, at gmail.com.
Okay, and so it's your, just like your name is reading on the screen. So it's Sean Cowgill at gmail.com. And your phone number I've got is 415-410-4612. Is that correct?
Yes.
So 415, and I'll put it in the chat room, 410-4612. And of course, if you get in touch with me, I will get you in touch with Sean. So, Sean,
real quick, can I
Sure.
show you something personal? Because my little brother, I just got a call. He's in jail now in Tennessee, and he's been he's been in trouble. I got two pictures I'm going to show you. Here's my brother. Here's my brother off drugs. I don't know if you can see that. Here's my brother off drugs. Okay. All right, here's the picture that was in the paper yesterday. Let me see if I show.
it's not showing very well, but.
Hold on. Let me take the background off. I got to show you this because this is before and now. Oops. I got to show you this because this is before and after drugs. And just 1 second here. All right.
Okay, yeah, show us that.
So here's my brother. Here's him today. Here's him 5 years ago. 5 years ago, guys, clean and sober. He was getting his life together. He got his job back with the electrical union. And 5 years later, guys, he's got Paris police officer remains in the hospital. He's got assault on a police officer, guys. They got him on drug paraphernalia, resisting arrest, public disorderly. He was locked up in a motel for a month, and they wanted him out. And anyways, guys, so and I'm trying to help him. He says he wants a drug program. He wants to change, but he's desperate right now. I think he's going to go to prison. He's never been to prison. Now I get to help my little brother. So I just want you to see what drugs could do to you guys. So, I just wanted to share that with you. I'm trying to help out my little brother, but I mean, he says he's scared. He finally, he knocked the taser out of a police officer's hand and took it back and threw it at him. And it's not going to be good. He's going to go to prison. And
we don't want anybody else going to prison. And that's what you do now, Sean. You've lived that life, and now you're helping somebody else. Yeah. And for those of you that are listening, you've lived whatever life it is, but we can all help somebody else. And through Wings, there always is a way, and not just sweeping the floor and those kinds of things. And good news, we're going to be back in person in September, but we're going to continue the Zoom calls. So we will continue all of this. I'm going to read our closing story. And then we're going to go directly, for those of you that are in our Zoom audience, into breakout rooms, and then you'll be able to ask your questions of Sean. If you're on Facebook and YouTube, after the story, that will be the end of our meeting tonight. Next week, we are going to hear from another returning citizen. And this man volunteers in our office. He is using his financial expertise to talk about how he strayed and ended up going to prison, and then how he's being wise with his money now. So I sure hope you'll be joining us next week, too. But now I'm going to read a story. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say next week. Now, we were friends. We went to the same prison together, and that's how I met you, Ann.
Actually, that's exactly right. You and Tom were friends together.
He's one of the good guys that I found in prison.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and he is a wonderful man, and he is giving back, and now he's going to teach all of us some of the things, just like Sean has, of the things that he's learned. This is a story about famous people who overcame major failures. Now, none of these people went to prison. But I'm going to tell you who they are. I was going to have you guess, but I'm going to tell you because I want you to hear these words. Walt Disney said this: "All the adversity I've had in my life, all my troubles and my obstacles have strengthened me. You may not realize it when it happens, but a kick in the teeth may be the best thing in the world for you." And he didn't say, "and going to prison," but I've heard literally thousands of people saying going to prison saved his life. So here's something about Walt Disney. The man behind The Happiest Place on Earth was fired by the editor of a newspaper because he, in quotes, lacked imagination and had no good ideas. He then started a number of businesses that failed and ended with bankruptcy. But that didn't stop him from bringing life to one of the most beloved animated characters, Mickey Mouse, and becoming the recipient of 22. I don't know what that 22 is. I'm just reading that right now. But being the founder of Disney World and Disneyland and Disney in Paris. That's one story. Now, here's another one. Steve Jobs. Quote, "If I try my best and fail, well, I've tried my best." Dropping out of college and quitting his first job to find himself didn't inhibit the Apple mastermind from becoming wildly successful. Even along the path to success, he was unceremoniously forced to leave the company that he had started. Upon his return years later, he brought with him innovation and drive that made Apple the world's most iconic and successful technology brands. Steve Jobs. Now, the last story is about Abraham Lincoln. This is a quote from Abraham Lincoln. "My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure." Very challenging thought there. President Abraham Lincoln saw his share of failure and defeat in his lifetime before becoming one of our nation's greatest leaders. 30 years prior to winning the presidential election, he lost his job, he failed at a business, had a nervous breakdown and lost 8 elections, but instead of giving in to failure, he persisted to become the 16th president of the United States of America. Now, Sean had a path that some of you listening have had, the prison route. He is a very successful podcaster, and I know he's doing well in life today, and I know you're going to help that younger brother and just hundreds of thousands of others, millions perhaps. And think of Walt Disney, Steve Jobs, Abraham Lincoln. All of us can accomplish something if we put our mind to it. So just because you've been incarcerated, you're a returning citizen, or have somebody, a loved one incarcerated, that has no way defining who you are, and we want you to become the person that God intended you to be. So have a great night. Stay with us for Zoom, and otherwise we will see you next week. So good night, everybody. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.